And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Cosmas. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat and, of course, our morning cup of coffee. And I think you can tell from the mug, we're going to have a little bit more fun for today. I've got the Don't Hate Me Because I'm Beautiful mug. And I thought, the videos lately, because of Great Lent, were a little bit serious. So we're having some fun this week. Last time we talked about the Oscars. And I thought for today, I would do a review of a show that's come back out. A new season has dropped of Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is, of course, an incredibly popular show. It's on Apple TV, so if you don't have Apple TV, you're probably not seeing it, but a lot of people do have that. And I think it's the third season, came out last week. And so maybe a lot of people watched that first episode over the weekend. I was able to watch a little bit of it. I try to cut down my TV watching in Lent, but I'll watch a little bit here and there, sparingly. And Ted Lasso is actually a show that I do like, although I have to say it can be a little bit off color, obviously. And because it's sort of based on being in Great Britain, again, the language is salty. I don't know what it is about the British and their bad language. But other than that, it has some really redeeming qualities that I wanted to talk about for us in the spiritual life. So I'm not really reviewing the show. I'm just sort of commenting on why I think it's so popular and why it resonates with so many people and the implication for us spiritually. So the first episode came out, but what's happening consistently that you see in a show like Ted Lasso is this sort of personal discovery. It's people, lots of different characters, sort of realizing who they are based on where they come from. A lot of emphasis placed on relationships with parents, specifically relationships with fathers, whether those are good relationships or bad relationships. And you see those developing and playing out in the characters. There's also an analysis of the main character who has panic attacks or anxiety attacks and how he's handling and dealing with anxiety, and he's going to a therapist and he's talking about some of that. So there's very, very good, powerful messages and positive messages that we should think about. But as it affects us in our personal life, our spiritual life, as Orthodox Christians, I thought it's interesting that it's so important if you're going to be healthy in a spiritual way, you have to be self-aware. You have to know yourself. And I think that's a lot of what Ted Lasso is sort of explaining and teaching people. It's a journey of self-discovery. It's trying to discover who you are authentically, who you are, and sort of being okay with who you are, right? And not pretending to be someone else or pretending to be something that you're not. Because when we do that, we get into trouble. And it's so important in our spiritual life, if we're going to have a healthy relationship with Christ, we have to first know who we are as individuals. And we have to be okay with that. Because guess what? He's okay with that. He loves the real us. And He wants us to be the real us. He doesn't love the person that we're pretending to be or that we're faking. He loves who we really are, with all of our dysfunction, with all of our baggage, with all of our faults and shortcomings, because we all come from somewhere. We've all gone through our own ordeals. We all have our personal stories, our difficulties that we've had with our parents and our families and our upbringings and what's made us who we are. But guess what? In all of that, Christ still loves us. He loves us for who we really are. And what better thing is there to know than that? That I can be me, really me, and Christ loves me, right? And He wants me to be saved. He loves me and He wants me to be with Him. Now, that doesn't give us carte blanche to say, well, this is the real me, so now I can do whatever I want, and God has to love me, right? That's a different statement. We're not saying that. We're saying He loves you for who you really are, but there's also a person that you're trying to become. You're trying to become like Him. You don't say, well, this is who I am, where I'm at now, and God will meet me here, which is true, and He'll love me here, which is true, and He's okay with me just staying here, which is not true. We don't believe that. Well, where do you get that, Father? I don't know, from the Bible, from the New Testament. Christ heals the person. Think about any healing story that you can think of. He encounters the person, He meets the person where they are, in their difficulty, in their suffering. He heals them because of their faith authentically. And then what does He say? He doesn't say, great, I love you no matter what, keep doing whatever you want to do. He says, no, your faith has made you well. Go and sin no more, right? So God does love us. He loves the real us. And that's comforting, that we have to try to figure out who we really are. And we have to accept that and be okay with it. Know our strengths, know our weaknesses, but that doesn't mean that we're not still a work in progress, that we're not still moving toward a goal. And the goal that we're moving toward is being like Him, being like Christ. That's what we're trying to do in the spiritual life. But Ted Lasso made me think about that, because it's the story of these people, many characters, trying to discover who they really are and trying to come to terms with that. And that journey of self-discovery is something that we should also be thinking about as part of our journey and our spiritual life, and we do that each and every day. Amen.